Hey, what's going on, guys? Welcome back to Brass Monkey X. So, today we're doing something completely different. Now, I've never done videos like this before because I have never had a halfway decent computer to do this stuff with. I've been recording all of my YouTube stuff for the past 3 years on my phone. I basically edit it all on my phone. I do everything from my phone. But now I have a halfway decent computer. So I can do videos like this one here where I'm going to show you guys how I print my miniatures with my 3D printer. I'm going to show you all the software I use. I'm going to take you from start to finish. So from concept on the computer to the actual 3D printed model on my workbench. Now, I know this video isn't something that you guys usually see on my channel. This is for all my nerds out there, my D&D guys out there, all my people that are into miniatures. Now, I haven't posted too much stuff about that on this channel because, like I said, I haven't had a computer to do this stuff with. So now that I do, and I know how to use this stuff, you're going to be seeing a lot more content like this. If you are subscribed to my Instagram, you've seen my miniature painting and some of my stuff over there about Dungeons and Dragons, so you can go check that stuff out. Also, before we get started here, big shout out to my brother Ray. If it wasn't for him, I would have no clue how to do this stuff. He taught me how to use OBS Studio, so that's what we're recording on right now. So I'm not good with this stuff, but he is. He taught me how to do all this stuff, so hopefully this turns out well. Check out his YouTube channel. If you're into video games, he is Ray Plays Games on YouTube. I'll put a link in the description down below. You can check him out. Really awesome channel. My brother's been kicking ass at video games since he was like 6 years old. Go check him out if you're into video games. But let's go ahead and get started here, guys. So, miniatures. I like to print my own. I realized it's a lot cheaper to just print your own and to do it all yourself than to buy miniatures. So I bought myself a 3D printer, which I showed you guys on my channel before. I've showcased that. It is the Halot One by Creality. I think it's called Halo. I don't know if it's pronounced Halo or Halot. I call it the Halo. As you can see right here, this is the slicing software. Halot. I call it Halo. I think it's pronounced Halot. I don't know. You call it what you will. But my first step in creating miniatures, guys, is I like to use HeroForge. Now, on my phone, I do have a couple other programs where I can download other people's miniatures and print them from there. I could also do all of this from my phone, where I can print miniatures from my phone using HeroForge and everything, but it's a pain in the butt, which I'm so glad I have this computer now. But we're going to log into HeroForge here, and I'll show you guys what I do. Okay. So if you guys don't know what HeroForge is, you need to check this website out. This is so cool. You can create all of your own miniatures. I spend hours on here, both on my phone and on the computer, creating miniatures. Maybe I'll do another video, start to finish, how I go from concept to actually creating them on here. But for now, I'm just going to show you guys how to print everything out. So what I do is I'm already logged in here. So if we go to our Hero tab, we go down to Heroes, it'll open up all of the miniatures that I've made so far. Okay, now I'm going to pick one that I'm going to print here. There's one in particular I need to do, this one here. This is my wife's miniature. Now, I've printed one out for her before, but she made a tiefling, okay? And her tiefling has wings. So the first one I did had these like big demon wings on it. And we printed it out, and it's just too big to use on our battle maps. So I'm going to print one without the wings here. So the ones with the wings, she was in this pose where she was doing her Eldritch Blast. She is a warlock. This one here, I have her more in she's doing like your Hellish Rebuke, where she points at an enemy and then they're engulfed in like hellfire. It's a pretty cool move, but anyway, I digress. This is the character I'm going to be printing here. Okay, this is the design I came up with. So what we have to do, here on HeroForge is you're going to have to purchase the STL file. Okay. So to go ahead and do that, over here where it says buy, we're just going to go to that where it says buy. Okay. Now you could order the miniatures from them, like directly from them. You can order regular plastic, premium plastic, the unpainted stuff that you're going to have to paint yourself. You could order the colored ones. These are pretty cool. The standees, if you don't have a ton of money and you don't want to buy a miniature from them, you can order the standees. They're made of like a plastic resin. It's like clear, and it's like a colored model underneath it. They're like flat. They're pretty cool. We actually ordered one of those. We tried it out, and they're not a bad alternative to regular minis. They also do metal minis, which are insane amounts of money. That's crazy. But we're going to be doing this here, the STL download. It only costs like $8. Okay, so it's not too expensive. We're going to go to just add cart. Okay. Go ahead and go to view cart. Now, all of my information is already in here, so I can just instantly check out, and it should work. So we're just going to go to checkout. Going to blur out my information here so you guys don't see it. Don't need anybody getting a hold of that. So save payment. And sorry about the dogs there, guys. Just save payment and continue. And we're going to go ahead and just place order. Okay. Now the order has been placed. So we're going to go ahead and continue. And we can go ahead and go back. And now where you're going to find your STL is under your digital downloads. So if you go over here to the personal info, you scroll down here to where it says digital downloads, and you're going to click on that. Okay. Yeah, as you can see, it's still processing. It takes a few minutes for it to go through. Also, HeroForge, if you have a 3D printer, they give you a couple of samples you can print out. There's a Paladin and an Explorer that you can do. So take a look at those, guys. I printed those out. They're actually pretty cool. So in this section here, it's going to save all of the STLs that you download from them. Yeah, I do have a few here. A lot of them I have saved onto my phone. Some of them I have saved onto my computer now. I'm in the process of getting them all switched over and onto my computer. But once it finishes processing, you're going to be able to download it. Okay. So once this is done, it usually only takes a few minutes. You're going to go ahead and hit download, and it's going to download it right to your computer. And then from there, you can put it into whatever slicing software you're going to use. So we're just going to give it a few minutes to process here. And then as soon as that's ready, I'm going to show you guys how we download that. So while it's processing, I mean, I guess I could go back to the creator here. I could show you some of the minis that I made. While we're waiting, I did a lot of characters from like Shining Force. I got Alucard here. That's pretty cool. Here's some characters that I made too. I'll just scroll through real quick. You guys can get a look. It's pretty fun. I really enjoy doing this stuff. Oh, here's another character I got to print out from one of my players. This was another one, a Dragonborn. Plan on doing these too. I made some chess pieces. As I'm also a woodworker, I was planning on making my own chessboard, printing out these pieces and coloring them in different colors. So that'll be pretty cool. I got all kinds of projects I want to do. Here's a character I made for my cousin. You can see that over on my Instagram. Posted pictures of that. Let's see. Here's another one of my players. I got to print this one out too. This one here. So I got like 3 that I have to print out. Yeah, I mean, the possibilities are endless with this thing. This one here, this skeleton that I made, I put that on there's a thing called the Creality Cloud where you can share your minis. Tons of people have been downloading this and the slaves that I made. I made this one here and this one here. A lot of people have been printing these out. So that's pretty cool. Got the butcher from Diablo. So I plan on writing a Diablo campaign that I'm going to run. I'm going to DM it. So I got a lot of characters from Diablo in here too that I want to print out. Vasha Stampede. Anybody know who that is? Go ahead, comment down below. Willow, one of my favorite movies of all time. Yeah, I mean the character creation on this thing is endless, man. You can make so many different kinds of characters on here. There's so many options. It's really cool. Check out HeroForge if you guys have never checked it out. But let's go ahead. We'll see if this thing is done processing yet. There we go. We're going to just hit download here. As you can see, it just downloaded. So we're done with HeroForge now. We can go ahead and close out HeroForge. Now, we're going to go over here, open up our files. Now, it should be in downloads. So right here is the compressed zip file. So what we're going to do is we're going to click on that. Okay. We're going to go to Cordelia here. Now, I'm just going to drag this over here to documents. And I'm going to put that in my minis and STLs because I like to have that there. Okay. Now we can just go to minis and STLs. Okay. As you can see, it's there. So what we can do is go to our Halot Box, which is our slicer. You may be using a different slicer. I don't know how yours works. I'm going to show you how Halot Box works though. So we're going to go ahead and open up the app. All right. We don't want to open our previous model. That was the last one I was working on. So we're just going to go ahead and say no. Okay. We're going to go over here to open. And as you can see, Cordelia is right here. So we're just going to click on that and go ahead and hit open. And it should place our model there. Perfect. So check it out. That's our model in 3 dimensions. Okay. We can see where it's going to print on our plate. So this is basically a layout of our plate in our 3D printer. So if you want, there's some pretty cool things you can do here. You can rotate your model, you can move it around. Over here where it says clone, you can actually duplicate the model and you can print like multiples at a time. I'm not going to do that. I mean, with smaller models, I do stuff like that. Like when I'm making multiple enemies that I need like 4 or 5 of them of, if I can fit them all on the plate, I'll do it. But for like a single model like this, obviously I don't need to do that. So what we're going to do is once you know what you want to print, if you're not cloning it or rotating it or moving it around or anything, you can change the scale of it too, make it a little bigger, a little smaller if you want. I like the scaling on HeroForge. I believe they use 32 millimeter. So, I mean, it's slightly bigger than most minis on the market, but it works out just fine. But anyway, after you have it laid out the way that you want it, what you're going to do is up here, you're going to go ahead and click on support. Okay, and it's going to add all of the supports. So to do that, you're going to come over here. Now I already have my settings the way I like them. So I like a medium support. I don't like it heavy. I don't like it light. I like a medium. Down here, you can click on whether you want to add a base, things like that. I like to use a sled style base. It seems to work the best for me. So what we're going to do is right here where it says automatic generation, you're just going to go ahead and hit all, and it'll go ahead and it'll add all of the supports there. Now, if you want to remove supports, you can do so at this point. If you want to add supports, you can also do so at this point. You do it right down here, you manually support. You can add or delete supports. It's usually pretty good the way they have it. I haven't had any issues yet. I think 1 or 2 models that I've done, I've added an extra support or two here or there. But I mean, this one looks pretty good. Like I said, we can just spin it around here, take a look, make sure everything looks like it's supported. The tail's got support, the arms, the head there. Everything looks pretty good. Like I said, we got that sled style base, which I prefer. There is another style on here, but it sticks too good to the plate, and I have a rough time getting it off. I think the sled is the better style. But once you have your supports straightened out like this, and I mean, you'll have to play around with it, figure out the settings here that work for you and for your particular 3D printer. For me, I have everything set the way I like it. So once you have all the supports figured out, you're going to go ahead and you're going to click on Slice. Okay. Again, figure out the settings that you're going to want for your machine. Like I have my motor speed set, my rise height, exposure time. It asks you all that. Depending on the type of resin you're using, you may want to use a different exposure time. The layer thickness, you might want to adjust that. Again, like I said, I have everything set the way I want it here and on my printer already. So I'm not going to do a tutorial on how to set that stuff because it's all specific to what printer you're using, what resin you're using, stuff like that. So that really doesn't matter. It's all going to be different for whoever the user is. So once you want to slice it, you're going to go down here and you just go ahead and hit slice. Okay, and it's going to go through layer by layer. So that's how it's going to print. Every layer that it prints, that's going to be the layer. One layer at a time. That's pretty cool that it shows you that. Okay, now we're going to export it. There's different ways you can do this, okay? You can upload right here. That'll upload it to if you're using the same software as me, the Creality Cloud, which is Creality's it's almost like kind of like a Facebook. It's kind of like a social media where you can share your minis and stuff. A lot of people share them. Some people sell them, which I think is ballsy. I don't know, just share them, dude. Let the community have them, whatever. Then you have remote printing, because my printer does work with Bluetooth. Now, I don't like doing that from my computer. I used to do that from my phone, and I'd sit down in the garage with my phone next to the printer because I was paranoid that I would lose the connection, and I didn't want it to stop printing halfway through and waste hours and hours of printing. So now what I do is I go to local print, okay? And that we're just going to go ahead and save this file onto a flash drive right here, my USB drive. We're going to click on that, okay? And we're just going to go ahead and save. And now it's going to save onto a flash drive. We can go ahead and close now. So now that it's saved on my flash drive, the next step is to go down to my 3D printer. We're going to plug the flash drive into the 3D printer, and I'm going to show you guys what we do from there. So I can go ahead and close all this out. Might as well save the project. We're going to save that again into, I like to save it right here in this file. So we're going to go ahead and save, close it all out, and then I'm going to go ahead and stop the recording here on my computer, and then I will meet you guys downstairs in my workshop, and I'll show you guys how I take the flash drive and input everything into my 3D printer. So I will see you there. All right, guys, so we are down in my workshop now. This is my 3D printer. I've showed it on my channel before. I did an unboxing of it when I got the thing. So this is it. This is the Creality Halot One. This here is the flash drive that our mini is stored on now. It came with the 3D printer, which I think is awesome that they do that for you. It came with a couple of things. You get a whole bag full of stuff here. They give you a scraper, which I didn't like because it was a metal scraper. I can use that for something else, but I didn't like using that. I don't like the idea of using that on that metal plate there. I don't want to scratch it all up. But you get all kinds of Allen keys and stuff, your warranty card, instructions, whatever. But anyway, So, the 3D printer, the first thing you're going to want to do is turn it on. So, in the back, there's a switch. You just go ahead, hit the switch. You'll see it come on here. It'll come to life. You got to give it a few seconds. There it is. Cool little guy there. All right. Now, you're just going to plug in your flash drive. Now, I'm already set up here because I've been doing prints all week long. So if you're going to be printing and you know you got a couple prints coming up, you can go ahead and leave your resin in the tray for a little while. You can leave it in there for a couple of days. I wouldn't go more than like a week or so though. So when you're done with the resin, you do want to pour it back in here. And when you do, use a funnel and get yourself a filter. I got a bunch of like paint filters that I use. I put the paint filters on there and I filter it back in. The resin that I use is this here. It's any cubic. I use the water wash resin. Typically I get the white stuff. I just ordered some more and I got it in gray because it's a little bit cheaper. I'm going to try out the gray, see how that works out. I mean, I know there isn't much of a difference in the color, but I mean, I guess we'll find out. So, because this bottle's almost empty. But I like using the water wash stuff. I don't like to use the stuff that you have to wash off with alcohol. That seems like a big headache to me. I don't want to deal with that. I can't deal with that smell. The water wash stuff is so convenient. When I'm done, I just take this over to my slop sink, rinse everything off, and I'm good to go. But anyway, it's all set up here. We're ready. There's resin in there. So what you're going to do is, on the screen here, it is a touch screen. All my settings are already set. So everything's preset. We're going to go ahead. We're just going to hit print. Now in here, you should be able to find the file you're looking for. I got a couple of files in here right now. I was doing Cordelia is what I was working on. So we're going to go ahead and click on that. We're just going to hit OK. Okay. Then right over here, click on Cordelia again. Now you're going to choose your print parameters. You can use the file parameters, which are the ones that we set on the computer, or we can use the use the printer parameters, which are the ones that you set on the printer itself. For me, both of them are the same. I set the printer parameters and my file parameters exactly the same, so I can't screw this up. So I just go ahead and hit printer parameters. It shows you right here, gives you a little preview of your model, what it's going to look like, and it tells you how long it's going to take. So this model is going to take 2 hours, 45 minutes. The thickness of each layer is 0.05 millimeters, and there's going to be 885 layers. So we're going to go ahead, we're just going to hit the start button. You can hear it kick on, and if you watch, you can see that plate slowly dropping down. And that's it, guys. Now we just wait for the printer to do its thing. 2 hours and 45 minutes from now, we should have a mini. So I'll be back in 2 hours and 45 minutes. I'll show you what we do with our mini from there. I'm going to show you how I get it washed off, cured, primed, and ready for paint. So hang in there, guys. We'll be back in 2 hours and 45 minutes. All right, guys. So our 2 hours and 45 minutes is up. Our printing is complete. So you just go ahead and hit OK there. Then what you're going to do is, let me try and do this with one hand here. It's going to be tough. You got to kind of pull the top off. And just set that down to the side. This is what it's going to look like. So our mini is up there, stuck to our plate. So what we're going to do is, right here at the top, you just unscrew it here. Just like that. You don't have to take that all the way off. You just have to take it off enough. And because this is water soluble, you don't even have to use gloves or anything. You'll be fine. You just go ahead and slide the whole plate off of there. Just like that. And then we're going to take this over to our slop sink. And we're just going to wash this whole thing off. Alright guys, so here's our mini. It's still attached to our plate. Everything is still covered in resin. So we're just going to go ahead, use some warm water. and we're just going to wash everything down. Okay. You want to get the plate nice and clean. Make sure you get all of the resin off of the plate. You'll feel when it's done. Sometimes you can't really see it, but it leaves like a film on it. You can feel the resin on there. So you just rub it down until all the resin comes off. Make sure you get the mini. Now, to get the mini off of the plate, I showed you before. They gave us that metal scraper. I don't like using that one. I have a plastic one here that I use. That way I don't mess anything up. I don't scratch up the plate, and I don't mess up the mini while I'm doing this. So you're just gonna get this, and you're just gonna kind of work it a little bit, and eventually, yep, there you go. It'll pop right off the plate, just like that. Okay. Then you can go ahead and continue washing off your plate. Again, make sure you get all of the resin off of that plate. You don't want that hardening up on there. Okay, then you can take your mini, give that one more good rinse. And don't think we're done. We're going to have to rinse it one more time after this. So we go ahead, we get it rinsed off, and this is what your mini is going to look like. It's still got all of the supports attached. So our next step, we're going to bring this back into the garage. We're going to sit down at our workbench, and I'll show you how we remove all of the supports. Okay guys, we're back at the workbench now. Just make sure you reinstall the plate on the 3D printer, and then go ahead and put the cover back on it, and then you're good to go. You don't want to leave that cover off, because the sunlight coming into your workspace could mess up the resin, so you want to keep that cover on it. Now, your actual mini here. What we have to do at this point is go ahead and remove all of the supports on here. So you're going to need something like this, like a little pair of clippers like this. And you're just going to come in here and you're just going to start clipping all of it off. I usually start down here at the bottom. I work my way all the way around. It's kind of awkward to do on camera here. You just want to make sure you don't clip any of the actual mini while you're doing this. I've done that before. I've snipped off arms, and I've snipped off like weapons and stuff, and you just got to go back and glue them on when you're done carrying it. But just be real careful. See, like right up here where it connects to like the hand, you just kind of want to get your snips in there. Slide right up against that joint there and just snip it. Just be careful. You don't want to cut off anything important. You can kind of pop these sometimes, but like I said, you want to be real careful with it, because you can end up breaking pieces off if you try that pop method like that. You just got to be real careful. You don't want to just hulk it. You want to come in real nice and easy. It's a little time consuming to get these off of there, but I mean, it's well worth it in the end. You start to really see it take shape as you get these supports off of here. Yeah, if you try to snap it off and it's not going, just use your snips, guys. Like I said, just be careful. You don't want to snip the actual mini itself. It's real satisfying seeing this come into shape as you get all these things off of here. They just kind of drop away and you're left with a mini. Awesome. Let's see, we got some more here on the back. Careful around the hair there, you don't want to cut the head off. Sometimes there's some really tight spaces to get into. Then you're just going to want to take it off the sled here. All right, the base is attached to that sled. You just kind of, that's where you can get in there and just kind of get a little brutish with it. You just work it under there. Snip all that off. And it should just kind of peel right off, just like that. So underneath on the base here, you just want to make sure you get all that little pieces of plastic off. You're going to feel it's still a little slimy. There's some resin under there. That's what I was saying before. You're going to have to wash it again. But just make sure everything's nice and flat. You don't want anything sticking up. Check the base. Go around the base. It's hard to get it to focus, but see those little nubs there? You want to go around and make sure you snip all those little things off. You want to get it nice and smooth. Some guys will even like use sandpaper and stuff. I don't think you got to do all that. It's not that crazy, man. Just get in there and make sure you get all of the big nubs off and you're good. So just go ahead and inspect your Mini now. Look for any points where, like right here on the arm, just kind of nip that off. All right. That looks pretty good, guys. Might be a couple little spots here, but nothing too major. All right, I'm going to call that done. So from here, what I'm going to do is I'm going to go wash it off again real quick, and then I'll be right back. Okay, guys, so here it is, all washed off. This is what it's going to look like before we cure it. Curing it is the next step. Now, as you can tell, you can't really see a lot of the details here when it's in this form, when it's white like this. It's really hard to tell the details. They really start to pop once you get this thing primed. You'll see when I get that done. But curing. Now, there's several ways you can do this. Now, if you don't have a setup to cure, you can leave this outside in your backyard in the sunlight for a couple hours, and it should cure it just fine. You'll know it's cured when it starts to change color and it gets a little stiff. The resin will start to harden up. Like right now, it's very pliable, but it can also break like this. You need to cure it to harden it up. The issue with the curing is, though, you have to be careful, because if you over cure it, if you cure it for too long, it can become brittle. And when it becomes brittle, it'll turn like a yellow color. That's how you'll know you did it too long. If it gets like the more yellow it gets, the more brittle it got. And that means you over cured it. And the pieces will just snap right off. So, like I said, you could leave it outside in the sun. What I did was I made my own little UV light setup. Now, I think Creality and a couple other companies, they sell a curing station, which is insane to me because they're asking like $200, $300 for these things. All it is a UV light and a turntable. So I went on Amazon, I bought a UV light and a turntable, and it cost me a total of about $8. So I saved myself hundreds of dollars making my own curing station here. So let me just get this out of the way. This is another Mini I was working on for a friend of mine. I got to get that painted up for him. But I just put this right here on my turntable, and then I switch on my UV light. As you can see, it turned purple. The UV light activates the turntable, and it's just going to spin that around. And then we're just going to wait a few minutes. It doesn't take very long. With this setup that I have, it only takes 2, maybe 3 minutes, and it's done. You'll know when it's done. It'll like I said, it'll start to change color a little bit. You don't want it to change too much. Like, let me show you over here. You know what? Hold on. Okay, so here's an example of a Mini that I cured for too long, and it didn't work out very well. So, as you can see, It's got almost a yellow tint to it. He's missing an arm. The skirt broke off, or the armor there, whatever you want to call it. And it just does not look very good. Let me put a camera light on here. Try to get it to focus. It's tough to get it to focus doing this on my phone here. But they don't come out very well if you overcure them. This is what it's supposed to look like. This is what it turned out like after I did it properly, and I now have it primed and ready for paint. So you can see the detail so much better once you get it primed. But that's what it should look like. I can pull Cordelia back off of there. You can kind of see the difference, how this one's white, this one's turning yellow. But we're going to leave Cordelia on there for a few more minutes. And once she's all done, I'm going to take her off of there. I'm going to show you guys how I prime them. While we're waiting for Cordelia over there, check this out too. Save the bases, okay? I save all these because you can make cool things out of them. These are like little pit traps I can use. These here, they can be little terrain pieces. You can even use them as bases for larger minis or even smaller minis. Just use your imagination, guys. Like this could be mud pits, ooze, slime, all kinds of stuff. You could put trees and brushes on here. Like you can use these for so many different things. Bigger one like this, you could use that for like a bigger mini. If you don't have a base for it, you can glue it on there. You can put some terrain features on there, a little bit of sand, a little bit of moss, something like that. So save your bases. They're actually very useful, guys. Okay, it's been a few minutes, and it is sufficiently cured now. I know it's hard to tell on this camera, but it does have a slight yellow color to it now. It's not as bright white as it was when I took it out of the 3D printer. And it'll also feel a little different. You can feel it's hardened up. The base is harder. The whole thing is, it feels like it's a little more stiff. So this is what it's going to look like before we get it primed. So let me go ahead. I'm going to get some gloves on. I'm going to grab my primer, and I'll show you guys what I'm doing for that. All right, guys, so we moved this party outdoors. Now, make sure you put on some gloves, all right, because you're going to get paint all over yourself. Take your watch off, too. I've made that mistake. That was terrible. What we're using is this here. It's just Rust-Oleum flat gray primer. Nothing fancy. You know, you don't have to use the crazy like army painter primers or Vallejo primers. Like I use those to paint my minis, but I don't need it as a primer. I'm just using this right here. Good old-fashioned Rust-Oleum. Can't go wrong with that. So make sure you get it shaken up. And you're just gonna coat your mini. Okay, you don't have to go crazy. Yeah, I usually get it done in like one coat. It's not like you're priming like auto parts or something. You don't have to go real slow. You don't have to do 7 different coats. Just get it on there, let it dry. Make sure you get all the surfaces, the front, get the back, the bottom. If you have to, just put it down for a second and reposition. Come back in, get the spots you missed. Make sure you get that base done. Get the bottom there, get the back. Okay. We're almost there. Make sure you get the top of the head. There you go. It's all primed up. We're going to let that set for a little bit. Should only take about 20 minutes, half an hour until it's no longer tacky. And we should be good. I'll show you guys what it looks like when we're all done. All right, there it is, guys. Cordelia, the Tiefling Warlock. We went from HeroForge to our 3D printer to an actual mini on my desk, primed and ready for paint. So yeah, there it is, guys. That's the process. It's not too difficult. There is a learning curve, though. The first couple of prints I did, I had a little bit of trouble getting it set up and figuring things out. But after I got it figured out, it's pretty simple, guys. There's really not much to it. You just download the STL, put it in the slicer, put it in the 3D printer, and there you go. You got a model. Pretty cool if you ask me. So I guess that's it, guys. Thanks for tuning in. I appreciate you watching, and we'll catch you next time.